Before I start, I just want to say that much of what I share with you is going to be incredibly frightening and extremely sad. Most of it will be very hard to hear. And most of it, once you hear it, you can't unhear it. And so before I begin sharing these facts with you, I want to put that out there and ask, once you begin learning, please don't turn away. The IPCC report predicts rises of 4 to 5 degrees Celsius by 2100, but that's really considered a conservative estimate. Even the International Energy Agency, which is largely a wing of fossil fuel, feels that we're likely to have 6 degrees Celsius rise in temperatures by 2050 if we stay our course right now and don't make changes. And so you might wonder, okay, so it's not so hot. Well, the thing that you have to understand is that there are time delays. We haven't seen the full effect of the carbon dioxide we've already put up there into the atmosphere. So at this point, even if we were to stop emitting more greenhouse gases, we would still have certain levels kind of baked into the system, and that would include things consistent with a 10 to 50 foot rise in sea levels. This is in our future. So right now, what are we seeing? Well, the 5 hottest years on record were the last 5 years, 2014, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And the hottest month on record globally was July of 2019. I think sometimes people say, okay, 4, 5, 6 degrees, what's the big deal? But the important thing to understand is this is not just a matter of temperature rising, it's a matter of the climate being disrupted and destabilized. Warming at the poles has been greater than other areas on our planet, and in February of 2018, temperatures were recorded at the North Pole that were 45 degrees Fahrenheit above average. James Anderson, who's a Harvard professor who has studied ice for a long time, said that at this point the Greenland ice sheet is melting at rates about 4 times faster than most models predicted, and he predicts the end of summertime sea ice by 2022. So I just want to stop here and say that this is August of 2019. So we're talking 3 years from now, there might not be sea ice in the summer. So sea level rise really happens for 2 reasons. One is that as ice is melting, that ice melt contributes water into the oceans. But in addition, as water warms, it expands. We've seen about 8 inches of sea level rise since 1880. Right now we're on track to have 1 to 4 feet of sea level rise by 2100. Another example of small changes in temperature having large environmental effects would be hurricanes. Since the early 1980s, hurricanes have increased both in frequency, duration, and intensity. And so we can expect to see more Category 4 and 5 hurricanes making landfall. As temperatures rise, snow melts sooner. And as snow melts sooner, wildfire seasons get longer and forests get drier. And as that occurs, we see more large-scale forest fires that are hard for forests to recover from. The 3 most expensive wildfires in U.S. history occurred in the last 2 years in California. There's kind of a background level of extinction or background rate that would be normal, and right now we're at about 1,000 times that rate. At this rate, we're losing about 2.4% of insects each year in terms of the biomass, which means right now we're on target to lose insects by 2100. And before you say, great, no more mosquitoes, no ticks, no bed bugs, insects form the basis of many food chains and pollinate many of our crops. So please understand that what I'm sharing is kind of like the physical science side of things, but what we're not really talking about, and I'm asking you to start making these connections, are the social implications for people and how many millions of people are going to continue to migrate because they can't feed themselves or their homes are underwater. what happens when our arable land becomes desert. What happens when we have huge hurricanes hitting our urban centers. So at this point, I'd just like to share a quote from Václav Havel. Hope is not the conviction that something will turn out well, but the certainty that something is worth doing no matter how it will turn out. I really believe at this point, climate disruption is an existential threat and we have a moral obligation to act.